I'm gonna get teary-eyed. What's going on, guys? My name is Poe, and I want to talk to you guys about America's Army Proving Grounds. It's kind of going to be a game review. A lot of people asked me on my video that I put up a few days ago with friends, what's this game, where'd you get it, and all this good stuff. So I'd like to give you guys kind of my history with this game before we start into this, and then you'll get an actual review about the game, understand how it works, what to do, where to pick it up, so on and so forth. First things you got to understand is, without this game, I would not be doing YouTube right now. This was the game that introduced me into modern FPS, meaning M16s, traditional warfare, urban, that kind of stuff. Without this game, I would have never played COD, I would have never played Battlefield, I would have never played anything like that, because before this, the only taste of a game I ever had was Unreal Tournament. And then I hopped over to Halo and stuff like that too. So, this being the only real modern type shooter was very, very standout to me. It was a really unique experience, and above all, it's been one of the most impressive tactical shooters I've ever seen. It was really heavily concealed behind the shadow and popularity of Counter-Strike. It was not hyped up enough. It didn't have the backing support or promotion that game had. And it was often really just unknown of. Even during its best years, people did not know about this game. And what I loved about this game, and I applaud it for, is it was always years ahead of its time. The dynamic weather just 10 years ago for maps like Sandstorm that were just incredible. There was like walls of sand. It made you have this real experience, and it was so unique. Dockside, where it was just weather and you can hear rain and it would cloud and stop the sound whoring, but you had that feel that you were actually in the storm. It did something that games 10 years later have still not been able to master. And it is so incredible because it's a free-to-play. And I want to tell you a little bit about what this game has to offer and why it is probably my favorite modern shooter, period. Franchise, nothing comes close, and I'll talk about that. So, first thing you have to understand is this game is a free-to-play, and the reason for that is because it's funded by the US government. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen, the freaking government made one of the best games of its time. And not a lot of people knew about this thing. Like I said, they weren't big deep into the gaming industry or anything like that. They were just trying to create this as a recruitment tool because they were targeting the youth of America. They were trying to interest them and educate them and seduce them into the ways of the Army. Like, oh, is this how this really is? Oh my God, I want to be in the Army. And they would show how it would work. You'd actually have to go through training, anything from marksman training all the way up to medicing. You'd have to learn about tourniquets and everything. It was an extensive, really awesome. I mean, it would get boring, but it was so awesome to learn about things in this game. It was an educational tool, but it was impressive. It was freaking impressive. There was E&E where you'd have to escape and evade at nighttime, try to not be spotted. It was impressive for its time. And there were a lot of people that were upset about this. They weren't happy about this. There are already mixed signals about recruiters coming to schools and talking about the children, trying to lure them into joining and registering in the Army and enlisting and stuff. And I dealt with this. I was, you know, you'd have those guys, those recruiters that would come to your school, and they would hand this game out in disc form way back when. And I remember one guy came in specifically and talked to me, and man, was this the ultimate salesman. He'd sit down, do you like breasts, pizza, tacos, and video games? Enlist now. Sign on the line below. You know me so well, I love all of those things. What? So it was a really, really shady kind of tactic. Some people were really upset that they were trying to, you know, just recruit their kids and stuff. But, you know, that stuff aside, let's talk a little bit about Proving Grounds and how the game has evolved over these last, what, 12, 13 years. Now, Proving Grounds, just to summarize this as quickly as possible, it's one of the top 5, easily one of the top 5 free-to-play shooters out there. So what makes this game pretty awesome? It's set up in the round format, very similar to Counter-Strike. You play rounds or something like Search and Destroy, you know, how it goes in other shooters. Now, what happens is you play your round. What's different in this AA is throughout these rounds, you also have the ability to be revived. I think you can only be revived once per round. I may be mistaken, but I'm pretty confident that's it. And also, if you get headshot, so if somebody shoots you in the head, you are unable to be revived. Now, what makes this game unique, and this is something I wish games like Battlefield would adopt, it'd be a cool feature to add into this. What happens is you shoot a guy, you can actually go over to his body, tie him up, and secure him. When he's secured, he can no longer be revived. That's the alternative to shooting them in the head or downing him twice. He's no longer a threat when you do secure him. Another part of this game is, if you want to, you can actually revive your teammates once per round. You go over to them, smack a band-aid on it, get up, soldier, hoo-ah! That's kind of how it's supposed to be. It's a new aspect, but I think it gives it that kind of modern feel. They changed it up just right, but I love that. Headshots mean they can't get back up, which is how it should be, but You know, some games don't go that realistic. You can revive once per round to keep the game going, but it also allows the game to fluctuate so that if it gets down to just 1 versus 4, if he was able to revive a teammate, then it's 2v4, they're kind of back in it. So it adds a cool little aspect to the game. On top of that, it's got decent customization. As of right now, there's not many guns available in the beta. I'm sure that's going to grow when the opportunity exists. There's lots of very, very fun game types, lots of tactical game types. You have the lean and peek ability. You can also bandage yourself. You take damage, and you can see in the bottom right corner the little health bar down there. When it's red, it means you can bleed out that much. And if you don't bandage it in time, you're going to bleed out that much. So you also have to bandage yourself, heal yourself. It's got these really, really cool aspects about this thing that not only do you need to use teammates, not only do you need to support your teammates, revive, and secure, but you have to have communication, and you need to pay attention to your HUD and know what's going on with it. So it's pretty awesome. On top of that, it's got some pretty awesome parental controls too. If you absolutely wanted to, you can turn this thing into kind of like a laser tag. You can turn off VoIP to avoid cussing or adult things and stuff like that. So it's a very, very friendly game for kids too. It's kind of turns into a laser tag, if you will. So on top of that, the game is incredible. It's got a great revive and secure system. It's got great hit detection. The game is really, really fun to play. It's very, very tactical. It's a game that you can play and hop on and talk with people in the game and still enjoy yourself. It's not a game that you have to play with friends or you're going to get bored in 2 minutes. So it's got long-term playability. It's got custom designed maps and even a map editor, which is pretty awesome. Well, they call it a mission editor, but you can create your own maps, set up where the objectives are. And this is very, very cool because not a lot of games allow this anymore. And it's because, like I said, most games are looking for money and big bucks nowadays. They're kind of going away from how gaming is supposed to be. This game stays true to how it is. Can you imagine how good games would be if the public can still create maps? That stuff has been gone for a long time. So I applaud them on letting this be a thing. And I'm super excited for this game. I can't wait for it to come out on full version. Now, it is only available on Steam right now. Knowing them and the pattern they've had so far, it wouldn't be but my guess a year later until they have a console form ready. Maybe even able to port over to PlayStation 4 or Xbox One within a few months. Again, that's just speculation. They've always had this pattern of creating a game and then releasing one on Xbox a year or two later and then creating the next installment and then like that. That's just kind of how it's been. So this thing has seen itself on mobile, it's seen itself on console, and it's been on PC. I'd like to remind you guys that it is free. You could check it out if you'd like to. Come hang out and play. I even have a Teamspeak link that I'll leave down below. And you guys are welcome to come and hang out and play with us whenever we're on board too. I'd like to see the game being kicked up there. Again, the community is relatively small because not a lot of people know about the game. But hopefully you'll take my word into consideration and trust me when I say it's probably one of the best shooters out there, period. And the fact that it's a free-to-play puts it on a level of its own. So again, thank you guys. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this. A lot of people were asking me about this game when I posted some gameplay of it the other day. It's fucking awesome. Go do it, or I'll get some random recruiter to convince you to come do it, and you're going to do it anyway. So do that, guys. I love you. Bye.